Welcome to part 3 of our how-to video. In the previous section, we discussed the various pieces of equipment that we will need to make use of to make our live stream work. In this section, we're going to discuss how to connect the various pieces of equipment up to one another so that they speak to each other in the correct manner for our live stream system. So if you look on the screen right now, you'll see we've got all the various pieces of equipment that I've been making use of on the table, and in this section, we're going to discuss how to link them up. Obviously, the various pieces of equipment and the connections will vary from person to person depending on what you choose to make use of, as well as what equipment you have and the various inputs and outputs you have on the devices. However, for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show you what we have, what to do based on what I have in front of me. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to connect our sound desk to our laptop and our laptop to our sound desk. So what do we need to make this happen? We need our auxiliary cables. We need 2 auxiliary cables, one from our sound desk to our laptop and another one from our laptop back to our sound desk. So with the first auxiliary cable in hand, I'm going to take it and I'm going to plug it into the rec out ports on my sound desk at the top over here. The position of these will obviously vary depending on what sound desk you're making use of. And then I'm just going to run this cable around the back of the laptop like that. And I'm going to plug this into the microphone port on the side of my laptop. If you've got one port, once again, you'll need to get one of those splitters that splits your one auxiliary jack in your computer to 2 so that you've got a microphone and a headphone jack. We need both of them. So we've now got the sound desk speaking to the laptop via the rec out option on my sound desk and via the microphone input on our laptop. So now we need to grab our second auxiliary cable, which we're now going to run from an auxiliary input on our sound desk. And once again, the position of this may vary depending on the sound desk that you've got, but it's now into the auxiliary input on our sound desk. And once again, I'm going to run it around the back of our laptop. And I'm going to plug it into the headphones jack on our laptop. And the reason for this is so that the sounds that come from our laptop when we play back videos and the like will then speak to the sound desk. So we've now set up our sound desk to speak to our laptop and our laptop to speak to our sound desk. So we've now got our laptop and our sound desk speaking to one another. When we play back a video or an audio file off of our laptop, it's now going to send those signals to our sound desk, and our sound desk will then send them to the speaker system in our church, as well as our sound desk will then send the signals back to our laptop, where our laptop will capture those audio sounds and send it to Facebook. This might sound a little bit complicated, but it's basically a nice setup loop system that allows both the church as well as the audience to hear everything that's going on the sound desk. So now that we've linked the 2 up, we obviously need to test how they're going to work. So I've got my sound desk, I've linked up a microphone to it, and I've linked up a speaker. Just as an example, with the microphone representing any microphone or audio source that you use in your church for singing or for preaching, and the speaker obviously representing the church's speaker systems. So we've now got everything set up and everything connected, and it's good to go. So now we're going to test if the setup and everything plugged in is working the way that we need to. As I said earlier, one of the programs that we need to make use of for this how-to video or for this video is OBS Studio. So we're going to need to open OBS Studio to test if our sound is working correctly. And I'd like to encourage you, if you don't know how to use OBS Studio yet, to go to section 6 of this video, where I'll show you how you can download it, install it, set it up, etc. However, I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit quickly just so that we can do this test run. So with OBS Studio open on your laptop screen, you're going to go down to the bottom here where it says sources, and you're going to click on plus, and you're going to choose audio input capture. And we're just going to click OK. And we're going to make sure that it's set to our microphone, not microphone via Droid Cam, not microphone via webcam or whatever, but microphone. And we're going to click OK. Now, we can see that there's a little bit of interference coming in over there on this audio input level. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this little bar down a little bit to get rid of some of that, because chances are if there's that much, there's probably going to be a little bit of feedback, as well as the audio is going to be too loud once we start sending it from the sound desk back to the computer. So we can see it's down now. So on our sound desk, all of our levels are currently at the bottom. There's no sound coming from our sound desk, and you can hear I'm speaking, but you're not seeing it jumping up and down high up here on the bar. And that's because the sound desk is not recording anything, and because it's not recording anything, it's not sending anything to the laptop. So if I go and grab our microphone now and turn it on and start speaking, even though it's on, even though the level is up over here, there's still nothing. Why? Because my main levels aren't up. But if I turn those up, watch what happens. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Okay, so we can now hear from the sound that there is my voice coming through the speaker system, which means as I'm speaking on the microphone, the congregation inside the church service is hearing exactly what I'm speaking. We can see on the sound desk here that it's registering, but if we look over to the computer on OBS Studio, we can also see that as I talk, the audio bar jumps up, which means that it's receiving the signal that I'm talking, which is great. This means that our sound desk is successfully speaking to our laptop, and our laptop is receiving the signals. Once again, as I said just now, you just want to watch these levels over here while you're speaking. You don't really want them to go more than yellow or into the red, or it might even be sitting slightly too low depending on your sound desk and your settings and the like. So if it's going into the red too much while you're speaking, you can just drag this bar here or the slider to the left, and it will take the audio volume down. If it's too low, you can add a gain, but I'm not going to cover that right now. I cover that in section 6 where we speak about setting up OBS Studio. So now we see that our sound desk is successfully speaking to our laptop, and OBS is capturing it, which is great. But now we also just want to make sure that our sound desk is capturing audio outputs from our laptop so that the church can hear it, and so that it once again can be sent back to the laptop for OBS to hear it, to send it to Facebook Live. So I'm currently playing back an audio file on my laptop, and you can't hear it right now. Why? Because our volume once again on the sound desk isn't up. So if they're speaking to each other correctly, the moment I turn my sound up on our sound desk, we should be able to hear that music. And there you have it. We can now hear the music playing on the speaker, which means our congregation and our church service is hearing it. We can then, therefore, our sound desk is receiving the signal. And if we go back to OBS Studio, we can see as the music is playing that this audio bar is once again jumping up and down, which means that OBS is receiving the necessary signals from our sound desk to send through to Facebook Live. So in other words, now everything is speaking to each other correctly. And there you have it. That is how we connect our sound desk to our laptop and our laptop to our sound desk using the 2 auxiliary to RCA cables. And I've also shown you how you can test to see if it's working using OBS Studio and the audio input capture, as well as playing around with the levels there. In the next section, I'm going to show you how you can connect the church's projector to your computer so that the congregation can see everything that's going on the projector screens in service. And this will also allow OBS Studio to capture that signal and send to our Facebook Live audience so that Facebook as well as our congregation can see what's going on at the same time. Okay, so now we've got our sound sorted out. The next thing that we need to sort out is our video. So in this part, we're going to be speaking about how to connect our laptop to the church's projectors so that the congregation can obviously see the slides and the projections and everything that we need them to. Alternatively, obviously, if your church doesn't have in-church projectors, like I said earlier, just a simple second monitor so that you can output to that monitor so that that monitor can then go to our Facebook audience. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm simply going to connect our projector to our laptop using a VGA cable because this is the simplest way to do it and probably the most cost effective as well. However, as I mentioned earlier, if you can do it with an HDMI cable, it is preferable because it just gives you a higher quality video. So to do that, I'm going to be making use of a VGA cable where I'm going to plug one end into my laptop and the other end into the projector. So I'm going to go to the back of my laptop where the VGA port is on this particular laptop, and I'm going to plug it in, and then I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to go and plug it into the VGA input on my projector. Now, this is obviously a simple example with a really short VGA cable. However, if you're running this practically in your church, chances are you're probably going to be making use of a much longer VGA cable to span the distance between your computer and the projectors in church. And once again, it is also an option to make use of an HDMI cable in place of the VGA cable. So now these two cables are set up, they're ready to go. So I'm going to now turn on my projector. And you will obviously then do the same in your church. Okay, so something worth taking note of when you install your projector or your second screen on your computer or your laptop is that you need to set the projector or the second screen up to be an extension of your primary monitor. So the way to do this is quite simple. Generally speaking, by default, when you plug a new device into your laptop or computer, it defaults it to replicating or cloning the screen onto the second screen or the projector, which isn't what we want. We want it to be extended. So the way to fix this is simply to go to your desktop, right click, go down to display settings, and then you'll see rearranging your displays. Now you can see here it's showing 1, 2, which basically means that it is cloning our first screen onto our second screen or projector, which isn't what we want. So you need to browse down to where it speaks about multiple displays. And you can see here it says duplicate these displays. Click on the drop-down menu and say extend these displays, and then keep changes. Now, if you browse up, you can see it's showing display 1 and display 2 separately. And this is also where you can select the second screen, which is your projector or your second screen. And you can then also go down and change the resolution for this, which can sometimes be quite important to do in order for our software to receive the correct signals as well as the correct aspect ratio for our live stream video. So you basically need the display resolution to be some form of 16:9 aspect ratio. So that will usually be 1920 by 1080, as you can see here, or it can also be 1280 by 720. Those are usually your two 16:9 aspect ratio resolutions. Your projector might not be too happy with you when you do this. However, when you do this, as I said, it means that our software will be receiving the correct aspect ratio signal for our output to Facebook Live. So it's important that we take note of this, and it's important that we do this. Otherwise, we're going to have problems later on when we're setting up our live stream. So we've now set up our projectors or our second screen to be an extension of our main screen, which allows us to work on our main screen. And then the second screen is what the people see inside the church and the people see on the live stream as well. So that they're not seeing what we're doing, they're only seeing the projection. So now we have successfully set up our sound, we've successfully set up our video output, and the next thing that we need to set up now is our video capture or our video input coming from our cameras. So this setup will now vary depending on what setup you're wanting to make use of for the cameras. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to cover using a webcam, using a cell phone with Droid Cam, and I'm going to cover using my handy cam, which you can see there. So the first thing we're going to cover is our webcam. You can see I've got my Hikvision webcam on the table there, and over here is my USB extension cord. I'm not going to unroll it and stuff for the purposes of this video, but just simply plug it in. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to plug the male from the USB extension cord into a USB port on the laptop. And then we're going to take our webcam, which this one you can see has quite a nice long cable, and we're simply going to plug the USB from the webcam into the female port of the USB extension cord. And once we do that, you can see the lights just come on, which means our camera is now going. And you can see on the desktop that it's also setting it up. So we know that our computer is now speaking to the camera and the camera is speaking to our computer, which is what we want at the end of the day because we've now registered it as a video source. So once our device is set up, as you can see on the screen right now, we then need to go and open VideoSOM to see the video source or to see from the video source. Okay, so we can now see that VideoSOM is open. So to check our video source, we're going to go to the top right over here where it shows the little video camera, and we're going to click on the drop down, and you can see there it shows our Hikvision camera. So we're going to select that. Once we have selected that, we're going to turn our camera on so that we can see that VideoSOM is receiving it correctly. So when we turn it on, you can now see down here, it's clearly capturing our video from our HIK camera that's sitting over here on the side. So we've successfully connected our camera. Next, I'm going to show you how we use a similar setup to set up our cell phone, as well as show you how to configure DroidCam on your computer, as well as your cell phone, so that the two can speak to one another and work exactly the same as a webcam. As I said, a webcam is nice and easy because it's plug and play. However, the cell phone's a little bit more complicated because of the programs and the extra setup that's required. But once it's set up, it basically works exactly the same as our webcam. Okay, so in this section, I'm now going to be showing you how to set up your cell phone as a video camera source for your live stream. As I said earlier, this isn't as simple as making use of a webcam where it's just plug and play. However, once you've got the settings right and you've got everything set up, this is quite convenient because everybody obviously already has a cell phone. I apologize if the video and audio for this one is slightly different to the previous ones due to the fact that I'm using my cell phone in this example. Obviously, I'm making use of other camera and audio sources to put this video together. So for this video, we're going to need the basics. We're going to need our laptop, a cable to connect our laptop to our phone, and our Android smartphone. So what we're going to do first is we need to get the DroidCam app on our cell phone, which is relatively simple and straightforward. You can find it in the Play Store. So if I pull my camera into the shot here, we can see that I've got Play Store open, and we just search for DroidCam. Now there's a couple of different options: DroidCam for OBS, DroidCam X, which you can see I've already got installed. DroidCam X is the professional paid version of DroidCam. If you want to buy this, it's a handy feature to have. The DroidCam X, it's not that expensive, and the nice thing about having the professional version of DroidCam is it allows you to use your camera with high definition quality, whereas the free version, which is this one up here, DroidCam Webcam for PC, only allows you to use your camera in low definition. So for the sake of this video, we're just going to use the free one. So I'm going to click it and I'm going to say install. And it's then going to download and install onto my phone. Now, while we're waiting for that to happen, I'm going to go over to the computer and I'm going to install DroidCam on the computer as well. So I'm going to open up Windows. I'm going to open up a web browser, and we're going to Google search DroidCam. Now, if you go down here, you can see it says DroidCam for Windows. So I'm going to click on that. And we're going to download DroidCam, and it'll download onto your computer. And once it's downloaded, you can click it and install it. I've already got it installed on my computer, so I'm not going to go and change anything, but you can just follow the default installation settings to download and install DroidCam on your computer. Now, once you've installed DroidCam and opened it, you'll be faced with this screen here, which might look a bit intimidating, but don't get too stressed out about it. We're going to cover that in a second. So we can also see on the cell phone that DroidCam is now installed. So I'm going to click open on the phone. Sorry, just my antivirus on my phone pulling up stuff. So you can see we've now installed it, and it tells you a little bit about how it works and all that kind of stuff. Allow DroidCam to take pictures and record videos, yes, while using this app, as well as audio, because we need these options. So now DroidCam is open on our phone. So the next thing that we need to do is now connect our phone to our laptop. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take our USB cable over here, and I'm simply just going to plug it into one of the USB ports on my laptop. And then this is a C-type cable because my phone uses C-type. And then I'm going to plug it in the bottom over there. Now, by default, it obviously wants to charge the phone and all that kind of stuff. However, this is where things get a little bit more complicated, because it is possible to use your phone with DroidCam over a network, as it's saying over there, but that's not what we want, because I've discovered from this that there is a little bit of lag when this happens. It's jittery and it doesn't look that great. So the way we're going to set this up now is we have to set it up to work via USB. So to do that, we're just going to minimize this. We're going to go into settings, and we now have to enable developer options, which you can see at the bottom of my screen there. However, this isn't enabled by default on your computer. So the way to do this is to click on About Phone, Software Information, and browse down to Build Number. Now, if I tap it, because I've already got developer option enabled, you can see that pops up. However, to enable developer options on your cell phone, you need to tap that 7 times and it'll enable developer options in your phone, and it'll tell you that it's been enabled. So once it's enabled, you're going to click on the back button, back again, and then you will see developer options is now available on your phone. So you're going to select it. Now, please, I want to say don't fiddle with much here, because you can really mess up your phone if you fiddle around with these settings. All we want to do is enable USB debugging. So we're going to browse down, and there you can see it, USB debugging, and we're simply going to enable it. And we're going to click OK. Now you can hear my phone has reconnected on the computer. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to open up DroidCam. And now we've got DroidCam open. Now I'm going to leave that there for now. On the computer, we're going to change it over to the USB mode. And then we're going to hit this refresh icon over here. Now, you can see on the phone, it's asking allow USB debugging. I'm going to tick that because we always want to allow it from this computer, so we don't have to do it every time. And I'm going to click allow. And it's asking again, I'm going to click allow. Okay, so it's now set up for USB debugging. I'm just going to refresh it again on this side. Just give it a bit of time. Okay, and now you can see this has appeared here on the screen, which basically means it's my phone. Now all we need to do is click start. And as soon as I do that, you can now see that my cell phone video is now appearing in DroidCam. You can see it's working there. So we've now officially set up our phone for DroidCam. So the steps for this is pretty straightforward. All you need to do is have the cell phone, the laptop, and the USB cable. Then what we need to do is download DroidCam onto our cell phone, download the DroidCam Windows client onto our computer. Then we need to connect the two with the USB cable, enable USB debugging on our phone as I showed you, and then open up the DroidCam app on both the phone as well as the computer. And once we've done this, we just need to then connect the two. So I've shown you step by step how we can connect the phone as a webcam video source, and you can see it's working perfectly. Okay, and next we need to open up VideoSOM just to make sure that this camera source is actually working correctly and that it's registering on our VideoSOM. So once VideoSOM is open, we're going to go up to the top right where the camera is. We're going to click the drop down menu, and we're going to choose DroidCam. Now you're just going to have to play around with it to see which one actually works. So once we've selected it, we turn the camera on. Okay, and there we go, first time lucky. So we've got the video source now. So you can see that our cell phone video through DroidCam is now registering as a video source on VideoSOM. Now you will see on the screen that we've got black bars on either side of the screen, and that is because of the resolution that we are doing the video at, and as well as the aspect ratio. And that is because we're using the free version of DroidCam. However, if you've got the pro version, you can obviously change it to an aspect ratio of 16:9, and then it will fill this area out. So if you want to do that, I'm just going to show you quickly how that one works. Okay, so if you've made the decision to rather use DroidCam Pro and get higher quality video from your cell phone, the setup process is exactly the same. You basically install it on your phone. If you've already done the USB debugging, you don't need to go and do it again. You've installed it on your computer, so the process is the same. It's just a different app. So if I go to app, you can see there we've got DroidCam and we've got DroidCam X. DroidCam X is the Pro version. So I'm simply going to open it up over there. And you can see it's basically working exactly the same way. However, there's a slight difference. In the DroidCam app, we need to go DroidCam HD mode. We need to say yes. And then it'll give us the various options over here of what resolution we can use, as well as the aspect ratio, which you can see there, 4:3, 16:9. We obviously want 16:9. I've got it currently set to 1080p, which is quite high, and it works, but I would recommend, especially because Facebook Live is usually at 720p, I would recommend using 720p rather, especially if you're running a slower computer, because the higher the resolution, the more resource intensive it's going to be. So you can then obviously by default it'll be set there. You can change it to 720p. Just make sure it's the 16:9 option, and then say, okay, restart my computer, and it'll then restart your computer with those settings configured. I'm not going to do it now though, but you can restart your computer in this case, and then obviously go and restart DroidCam as well. And when you've restarted DroidCam, it'll by default open DroidCam Pro in the high resolution settings, which you obviously wanted to have, as well as the 16:9 settings, which is a big bonus in terms of resolution and in terms of the aspect ratio. So I've now got DroidCam open again after my computer is restarted, and I've connected it all up. It's open on my cell phone. I'm going to click on refresh, and once my phone appears here, I'm going to click start. And as soon as I do that, it's now going to open up DroidCam again. However, now we're looking at the ceiling, so we obviously don't want that. We want the other camera. So to fix that, we need to say stop, and we need to go back to our DroidCam app, hit that little button over there, and say back camera instead of front camera. And then we go back over to the DroidCam client on our computer, and we start the process again. So with DroidCam Pro or DroidCam Basic, you can obviously use the same settings to change between your front and your back camera. You can see there now we're using the back camera, and it's really good quality. And if we go back to video SOM, we just make sure that the right camera is selected again. We turn it on, and there you can see we've got a much higher quality video camera going on there, and it's perfectly filling out the entire space of that, which is the 16:9 aspect ratio. So there you have it. That's pretty much it concerning how to set up our camera or our cell phone as a camera source using DroidCam. As I said, it is a little bit more complicated than using a webcam, but if you don't want to go and spend the money on a webcam, or you don't have another camera available, this is the most available option. It's just obviously a little bit more difficult to set up. If you missed something, or if you're struggling with something, maybe go through the instructions again. I've tried to lay it out as simply as possible. And if you're still not coming right, please feel free to contact me via email, and I'll gladly try to help you out as best I can to make sure that your DroidCam and your cell phone and your video SOM and everything are speaking to each other correctly. So thus concludes our section on using your cell phone with DroidCam as a video camera source. In the next section, I'll be sharing with you how we can make use of a video capture card and a external pro camera, be it a handycam, DSLR, or professional studio camera, as a video camera source. Okay, so now I'm going to show you an example of how we can use our handycam in this case, or alternatively a DSLR or a professional in camera, to connect it to our laptop. For the purpose of this video, I'm just showing you with the handycam because it's probably the most simple one to use and the cheapest one as well. However, if you want to make use of a DSLR or a professional studio camera, you can obviously make use of the same cable and connection. You'll obviously just need to work out the various settings on your device to make sure that it's doing it the correct way with the correct aspect ratio, with all the display screen settings turned off and the like. So in order to be able to connect a professional end camera, be it a handycam, DSLR, or a professional studio camera, we're going to need, as we discussed earlier, a video capture card, an HDMI cable, and an HDMI to an HDMI mini adapter to be able to connect it to the camera. So you can see that set up right now. Video capture card, HDMI cable into the adapter, and the adapter is going to go into the camera. So first things first, we're going to plug the video capture card into a USB port on our laptop. And as we do that, you can see there it says setting up video capture card. So we're just going to wait a second for that to happen. And while that is happening, we're going to take the other end of this cable and plug it into our handycam. So I've just turned the handycam on there, and here is our HDMI output over there. So I'm simply going to plug this into the HDMI output. Now, you can see there, it's now set up and ready to go, which is great. So once again, we're going to open up VideoSOM. As you must do every time you add a new video source, you need to close and reopen VideoSOM for the purpose of it probably won't recognize it as a video source if you've opened VideoSOM first and then plugged it in. So please plug in your video source before opening VideoSOM, otherwise they're not going to speak to one another. Okay, so now that VideoSOM is open, we need to go and select our video source from the drop down, and we need to go for USB 3 capture. So we've now selected our video source, and we're now going to turn it on again by pressing the camera. So now you can see we've got our video feed there, and it's got a beautiful image of the back of the projector. However, we've got a problem. You're seeing that there is all the on-screen display stuff there, and we want to get rid of it. Now, this will obviously vary depending on whatever camera that you're using. The reason I like this Canon one is it's relatively simple. So we're going to simply click on the home icon. We're going to click on other settings. We're going to click on that one over there. And then where it says output on-screen display, we're going to click on it, and we're going to change it to off. And you'll see now it's gone. So the nice thing about this setup is it basically mirrors whatever is on your camcorder or your video camera screen. And you can now see we've got a beautiful video output there. If I pick the camera up, you can see it's all working nicely. The autofocus is working. Even the zoom is working nicely for us there. So that is particularly why I like the camera option, because it allows us to zoom in and zoom out. And like I said, it replicates the screen. And because this one is 16:9, we don't have any aspect ratio problems. As you can see, it's all working perfectly. Now, this concept, once again, will work irrespective of what camera you're on, in the sense of it'll mirror the image on the screen. However, what its outputs to VideoSOM will depend entirely on the camera that you're using. And so those are the basics of the various video cameras that we can use and the methods of connecting them to our computer as a video source for our live stream. In this next section, I'm going to show you how we can use multiple cameras to be displayed. So how do we display multiple camera feeds for our live stream? The answer is quite simple. With VideoSOM open on your computer, with your camera sources connected, as you can see here, I've got the Hikvision webcam as well as my Handycam. And if we click on the drop-down menu here in VideoSOM, you can see both the Hikvision camera and the video capture card, which is for the camera. So to change it, we simply just change it in the settings. So if I turn the camera on, you can now see we're seeing the image through the Hikvision camera at the moment. And now if I want to change it to the Handycam, it's as simple as clicking the drop-down menu and clicking USB 3 capture. And when I do this, you can see it changed to the image that's coming through our Handycam. However, it was a bit choppy. It wasn't a smooth transition. So to do that again, we simply just click on the drop down, click on the other camera, and you can see it changes. And so you can change your video source like that. You can even use the built-in webcam, although I don't recommend that because then you're going to see your sound guys on the screen. But you can literally just change your source by changing the items in the drop-down menu. So thus concludes section 3 of this how-to video, where we've discussed setting up our video and our audio feeds. In this section, we've discussed how to connect to our sound desk, how to connect up our second screen or our projector, and we've discussed the various camera sources that you can use, how to connect those camera sources up, as well as how to use multiple camera sources all together at the same time while we're doing our live stream. I want to encourage you to stick around for section 4 of this video, where I will be introducing you to our first free program, Video Som. I'll be showing you where you can download it, how you can set it up, install it, and all these kinds of things. So I thank you for joining me for the section. I'll see you in the next one.